Okay, we are going live. Let's see if we can get a countdown going. I can't do that. Hold on. That's in the way. This, this, so, welcome. Welcome. I'm just getting started and I am finding that I have a couple of things in the way here. There we go. We have a countdown. So we're going to get started here in a minute. I'm a little early, but I'm Jim Munchback, and this is week number 3 of personal finance. We're going to talk about credit reports and FICO scores. So let's get started in just a minute. Now, I've been out of the country, been on a cruise with my family in Mexico. It was a very fun time, and I'm back. So today is the first day that I've actually been in class. We got canceled the first week because of cold weather, I guess. Yes, cold weather. So now this is my first actual live online session. So here we go. I'm going to try and get myself set up and get going here. Looks like we have some folks in the Zoom room. Welcome if you're joining us in the Zoom room. Glad to have you. If you could leave a chat and just let me know if you can hear me. A sound check would be great. I'm looking at the chat now. Can you hear me? Let's see, who do we have? Got a couple of folks. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Chat in. I'm wondering if you can hear me. So I am using a microphone. Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Can hear you. Thank you, Daniel. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, we're going to get started with credit and debt, credit scores, and actually credit reports. That's what we're going to talk about this week. And I am going to get things set up. Alrighty. So we are live streaming to Facebook and YouTube right now. And I'm hoping you can see my screen okay. Can you see my screen okay? You should be seeing a little video repeating, looping, credit and debt, week 3. I hope you're doing great. I wanted to make sure that you have the right link to this Zoom meeting. I'm assuming that you clicked on this link from the syllabus to get to this Zoom meeting. Had a little issue with Zoom updating the link, so we'll give everybody a minute to get started. One of the things I typically do is I don't actually start teaching until 5 minutes after the hour, so that gives everybody a chance who wants to be in the live Zoom meeting to show up and be here. We're gonna talk a little bit about credit reports today, and we're also going to review week 1. Week 1 was how to save money with Charles Schwab, and really just starting out in the course with the topic of savings as a personal finance primary objective is to save. So listen, if you're in the Zoom room now's a good chance for you to ask a question, leave a comment. This is your time. So especially for those of you who are making it a priority to attend the Zoom meeting, I want you to know that you have the opportunity always to ask questions, to contribute, to have a conversation with me as we go forward. So feel free to do that. I'll be watching the chat box as we go through the course, as we go through the day, the lecture. Okay, so let me remind you that this is being posted It's not there yet, but when we finish the Zoom meeting, we will post this video to the playlist, and you can find that playlist, this semester's playlist for personal finance at the University of Houston. You can just simply go to uhplaylist.com, and you will get that. This video will be there. It's not there right now. It's being streamed live to Facebook, so it will be in that playlist, though, as soon as we finish this course or this lecture. So we're about to get started, and I don't see any questions in the chat, so let's just start by reviewing, talking a little bit about what we've done already. I'm going to review the first week's assignment. I'm going to review the second week's assignment, share a few of my comments, a few of the notes that I made to myself as I reviewed your assignments, graded your assignments. So far, everybody's doing a great job. There's a couple of little kind of housekeeping notes I want to mention today. I really wanted to answer any questions you have. So if you have any questions, again, if you're in the Zoom room, leave it in the chat. Also, if you're in the Zoom room, make sure, if you're in the Zoom meeting, rather, please make sure you leave a chat, leave a comment, let me know what time you got here. So that's kind of how I take roll for the folks who attend. Obviously, it's not required. This is an asynchronous course. That's why we're live streaming the Zoom meetings each week. But we will meet every week, Tuesday at 10 a.m., right here on Zoom. So if you're in the Zoom meeting now, just leave a chat. Tell me what time you got here. I appreciate it. Okay, let's jump into one of the things I want to do is, as we get started with today's lesson on credit reports, I'm going to go through that lesson with you, but I also want to spend a few minutes to just cover some of the notes that I have for you. So let's do that now. So here's some notes. These notes probably will not apply to most of you, but I need to make these notes. I need to kind of share some of my observations as I graded this week's assignments. And number one was some students don't know how to take a screenshot. Screenshot is an actual screenshot. There's lots and lots of ways to take a screenshot, but one of the ways that I would encourage you not to take a screenshot is to take a picture of your screen. Now, that's not a proper screenshot. So if you're not sure what a proper screenshot is, or if you got a comment from me on your assignment because I said take proper screenshots, there's a video tutorial that I posted a few semesters back, and the link is here in front of you. And by the way, what you're seeing on the screen right now is a post. Every week I do a post so that I have everything in the same place. And the link to this post will be in the video. So the video, again, is going to be in the playlist. It's going to be called Credit Reports and Credit Scores. It's week 3, so if you just jump into the playlist for this semester, this video will be there, and in that video, in the comment section, will be a link to this post. So if you want to see what I'm seeing, that's how you find it. I try to do that every week. I'm going to do that every week. Trying is one thing, doing is another, and so I'm going to do that. I'm going to post the video with a link to the actual blog post that I'm showing you here. So again, if you have any questions about a screenshot and how to take a screenshot, click on this link right here and it will take you to that post for how to take a proper screenshot. Let me talk about late assignments for a minute before we jump into today's lesson. Late assignments receive 1 point. So you typically get 50 points for an assignment. There are 12 assignments throughout the semester, plus the capstone assignment, which is worth 200 points. And then in addition to that, in addition to the 600 points that you get for each assignment, 12 assignments times 50 points is 600 points. In addition to those points, you have the capstone assignment, which is worth 200 points. And then you have class collaboration, which is also worth 200 points. We'll talk about class collaboration for a minute too, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. But so for late assignments, the way that works, and by the way, we had about 10 late assignments for week number 1. Week number 1 was how to save money with Chuck, and like I said, we had several late assignments. However, since I was out of the country and you were kind enough, you guys did a great job in posting questions and letting me know what you needed so that I could prepare for being away. We missed the first class because of weather, and then I was out of town, out of the country actually, in Mexico on a family cruise, which was awesome, but not the best timing. But it is what it is. I'm back now, and so we had some late assignments. And typically, I am very not flexible on late assignments. So if you have a late assignment for whatever reason, I'm going to typically tell you the same thing over and over throughout the semester. Each student who asks me for some kind of exception on a late assignment, I'm going to say the same thing, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to remind you that you get extra points for turning your assignments in early. So if you will just put it on your calendar to submit your assignments by Friday at 3 p.m., you will ensure that you will receive an extra 20%. That's 10 points. That's a significant bump on each assignment if you turn them in early. Early means by Friday at 3 p.m. So the market closes every day at 3 p.m. And Friday at 3 p.m. when the market closes, typically I try to jump in and grade your assignments. Now, I don't always get them done. Sometimes I don't even get started until Saturday or Sunday. However, if you turn your assignment in by Friday at 3 p.m., that gives me the ability to review your assignment and give you some feedback. But it also gives you the opportunity to get some feedback from me. It gives you, which means if you miss some things in the assignment, if you make some mistakes, if you're missing something that is required in the assignment, it's my responsibility. If you turn your assignment in early, it's my responsibility, because I make it my responsibility, to give you some feedback. And then you get to complete that feedback. You get to complete or resubmit your assignment based on that feedback. And still, you will receive not only just full credit once you've made corrections, but if you send those corrections in before the due date, before 10 a.m. on Tuesday, that's when every assignment is due. If you turn that assignment in with the corrections, you will still receive the 10 extra points for the early submission. Now, a couple of little things I want to remind you of. If you're doing that, if you turn your assignment in early, and I give you some feedback and say, you're missing this, resubmit, you resubmit your assignment with those corrections, be sure, please, to remind me in the little text box that you are resubmitting your assignment. It was completed early and you made corrections, because I'm grading over, a couple hundred assignments each week. And so if you're wanting extra credit for turning it in early, I want to give you that. I want to make sure you get that. But I need your help. If you've made corrections and you're resubmitting it, just leave a little note and that will remind me. If you forget to do that, I'll still make sure you get the points. It just makes a lot of extra work if I have to go in multiple times each week and make updates and change points. So do me that favor, do yourself that favor, make it easy for me to make it easy for you. So the early points submission, extra points for early submission, that's a big thing, and I'm going to remind you of that. And so back to late assignments, if you have a late assignment, you have 2 weeks to submit the assignment and receive 1 point. If you wait beyond 2 weeks, that's 14 days, not 15 days, not 16 days, 2 weeks from the assignment due date. If you wait beyond that, you get 0, which means you're not keeping up. Therefore, you're not really able to participate in the class collaboration as we go through the semester. And so for that reason, if you miss an assignment, and if you don't turn it in within 2 weeks, not only do you not get that super duper 1 point, but you get a deduction of 20 points for not turning that assignment in. So you have 2 weeks. If you're late, just do the assignment, turn it in as soon as you can, and you won't be penalized the 20 points from the 200 points of class collaboration. I hope that's clear. If that doesn't make a lot of sense, rewind the video and listen to it again. You will get a deduction if you miss assignments. If you don't complete them within 2 weeks of the due date, you'll get a 20-point deduction from your class collaboration, which is worth 200 points this semester. So that's how that works, and that's why that's spelled out. Again, 3 p.m. on Friday, Central Time, that's when the assignments would be due if you want to receive the extra points. Okay, I think that's it. So here we go. This is what we're going to talk about this week. This is the description that I put into the video. So kind of cute little emojis. I know that's very creative. So let's go back to the top of the page, and I'm going to check the chat and see if we have any questions, and then we'll get started. So I'm looking at the chat box now. Okay, so it looks like we have some students who are not being able to get into the, that's a problem. So we have, I got a comment that there are some students who are not able to be let into the Zoom meeting. So I'm assuming that we have a bad link, meaning that they're clicking on a link that maybe from Zoom has updated some things, and I'm not sure how it happened, but what's happened is we've got a bad link. So I'm going to jump over here, and I'm going to ask a student who will, let me just jump in here and go copy invite link. Now I'm going to paste the invite link in the chat. So Herson, if you would do me a huge favor and just grab that link that I just posted in the chat, and you know what to do with it, right? Going once, going twice. So you just earned 1,000 free points if you know what to do with that link. I'm kidding, of course. But if you'll take that link and just post it in a group me with my apology and say that I am here and I will let you in. And if you're coming now back into the Zoom meeting because you didn't have the right link, I apologize. I'm not sure how that happened, but we'll figure it out. So if you're coming into the Zoom meeting right now because you just got the link from Herson, who posted it in GroupMe, then welcome, and I'm sorry you had trouble getting in. I'm still waiting for some folks who are coming in, and I will continue to let you into the Zoom meeting. Thank you, by the way, Herson. So yeah, I don't know how that happened. I don't know why you didn't receive the right link. Let me allow everybody in. Welcome, Maria. and Jeanette, and everyone who's here, Kiera, Mavie, Maria, Raven. I apologize. I'm not sure what happened. We're letting, hey, welcome Gavin. So got a new message. Let me see what the new message, link sent. You are my helper today. I wanted to say you are the man, but honestly, Herson, that's a name that I'm not familiar with, and I can't see your picture. I'm assuming you're a man, but you are my favorite student of the day for helping me out. Thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot, and I hope to get to know you. I'm pretty sure I graded your article, but I remember when I first saw your name, I thought, I've never seen that name, so very interesting. Anyway, thank you. Okay, so those of you who are just now coming into the Zoom meeting, we have some additional folks who are coming in, and I want to apologize. Could you, if anybody wants to give me a little chat, so welcome to the Zoom meeting. When you come into the Zoom meeting each week on Tuesday, if you're going to be here live with the Zoom meeting live, please chat in what time you got here. Now, there's no problem if you get here late today, but typically I don't allow students to join after 5 minutes. But obviously today there's some issue with the link, and I take responsibility for that. That certainly can't be your fault. I just need to figure out what the issue is. So I'm assuming that those of you who tried to join and could not join this meeting, you got the link from the syllabus or maybe from Canvas. If you could chat in and tell me where you got the link that did not work, so that I can go and replace it with a link that does work, that would be great. So, all right, I'm gonna assume now that everyone who could not get in is in. Yes, on Canvas, the picture with the zoom on it, okay, cool, on Canvas and the home page. Thank you guys. I will fix that as soon as we finish this lecture. I'll get that fixed so that it doesn't happen again. And I apologize. Technology can be a bit of a challenge. I'm not even sure why the link changed. I thought it was the same link, but every time Zoom upgrades or makes changes, there are some things that I do to take advantage of that, and I think that's what happened. I probably changed my profile or fancied something up, and when I did that, it probably changed the link, but I'll get it figured out. Okay, so Kiera, you said you used both the picture and the one on the top that's hyperlinked, and they were both wrong, I'm assuming, Kiera, and thank you for that. So I will download this chat. It will become my little to-do list when I get done. Both showed the meeting hadn't started. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just make sure that we get that fixed. And bear with me, please. I appreciate your patience. If it happens again, I will just make it a habit moving forward to ask someone in the Zoom room to grab the link and post it into GroupMe, so that anyone in GroupMe who's saying I can't get into the meeting will have the link there as well. But I'm going to try to get that fixed so that the right link is in the right place. Okay, here we go. So for those of you who are just now joining us, I wanted to say thank you, welcome, and what we're going to do for the next several minutes is talk about credit reports and credit scores. And I want to remind you guys that we have a playlist. The playlist is at uhplaylist.com, and that is where you will find this video. As soon as we finish, I will go and it's being live streamed right now. This video is being live streamed, and it will be in this playlist for this semester at uhplaylist.com. And every video that we post for this semester will be there. And I'm going to probably not go over everything that I went over, already, but I want to, let me just do this. Let me go down here, and I'm going to highlight a couple notes. And for those of you who are hearing it for the second time, I apologize. But I want to just make sure that I hit a couple of these things. Actually, no, if you came, well, I hate to penalize those who came late because you had the wrong, you had the wrong link. Let me just quickly highlight, if you're a student who got some feedback from me about screenshots, this link will take you to a tutorial. The link to this post that you're seeing now, again, is in the video. So just think about it like this. Every week I post a video, and in that video I put comments, description, and in this week's description for the video, I put the link to the post that I'm using to teach the lecture. So any links, any content that I talk about will be either linked or available in the post. These are just my notes from the work that I've done over the last few days in grading your papers, your articles. And I found a few students who didn't know how to take a proper screenshot. If you're one of them, take the tutorial. You need to take proper screenshots or you will get a 15 point deduction for pictures of your screen. That's not a proper screenshot. Late assignments receive 1 point, but they have to be turned in within 2 weeks. If you turn an assignment in 15 days, you will receive 0 points. If you receive 0 points, that means you missed the assignment. You missed the opportunity to be part of the class collaboration throughout the semester for that assignment. So you then not only don't get points for the assignment, but you also receive a 20-point deduction from the 200-point class participation component. So late assignments, you know, if you're late, that happens, turn the assignment in, get the 1 point, you don't get the 20-point deduction. If you have a late assignment, please don't send me an email asking me to give you an exception. There are no exceptions. I made some exceptions. The first week, we had several late assignments. I was out of the country. I felt like that was fair and reasonable. But moving forward, if you have a late assignment, that's not going to ruin your A, because you get extra points for turning your assignment in early. You get 20 extra points, so please do that. If you send me an email and say, hey, I dog ate my computer, whatever, my laptop didn't work, my internet didn't work, my car wouldn't start, it doesn't really matter. There are no exceptions for late assignments. If it's late, I'm going to tell you the same thing. You get extra points for turning it in early, so I would encourage you, not just in these assignments in personal finance, but in life in general, is try to be early. Because when you try to do something early, what happens if something happens is you get the opportunity to, do it. If you miss the early, you still get to do it on time. But if you miss the on time, you're actually late. So hopefully that helps. Again, this is the episode link, which means the link to what you're seeing right now. If you click that link, it'll bring you right here. So this week you're going to learn about credit reports. This week you're going to actually do a credit report, and your credit report is different than your credit score. So you're going to learn a lot about credit scores this week, your FICO score. You're going to learn that through the content that you consume in Money Study Group, and you're going to take a quiz, and you're going to basically learn all about your FICO score and what's contained in your FICO score. So I'm not going to really go into that today in the lecture, because you're going to have to do there's some great resources in Money Study Group, including a PDF file that has a great summary of each of the components that are in the FICO score. So FICO scores are FICO stands for Fair Isaac Corporation. And I think that's a question in the quiz, but these are the basic elements that you'll find. You really don't need to memorize these. I just want you to be familiar with what goes into a credit score. And I really want you to know the difference between a credit report and a credit score. I don't care. This assignment, this week's assignment is a credit report because I want you to review your credit report. You guys, you folks, students, college students are probably the biggest target for scams, for fraud. And so one of the best ways for you to prevent getting scammed, having fraud, being the victim of fraud, the best way, the best medicine, the best prevention is to check your credit report. Your credit score is important. I don't want to underplay that, but your credit report is what contains all of the information relevant to you and your use of credit and your performance in terms of the credit score. What produces the credit score, in other words, will be on your credit report. So you're going to grab your own credit report. There's a link to do that in Canvas. You'll get a credit report and you will review that. If it's easier for you just to grab the PDF, it generally comes in a PDF. So you'll download your credit report. You're welcome to include that in your assignment if it's easier for you. Otherwise, you can take a screenshot of something to confirm that you got your credit report, or just give me some good description of what you found, what you discovered, what you learned in reviewing your credit report. I just want you to prove to me that you actually did that. And then so that's what you're going to do this week. That's the main part of your assignment. Now, if you don't have a social security number, that's different than not having credit. You may not have credit, but you do have a social security number. You need to grab your credit report just to check, just to be sure. And maybe there's nothing on it. That's fine. You'll send that into your assignment. When you submit it, we'll say, hey, I got my credit report. There's nothing on it because I have no credit. No problem. If you don't have a social security number, there's an alternate assignment for you to watch a video and provide a summary of the video, how to invest. Now, you're welcome to do that assignment if you want to do both the credit report and the alternative assignment. But the alternative assignment is for the students who are like, hey, I don't have a social security number. They can't actually get a credit report. So therefore, if you can't get a credit report, if you don't have a social security number, then you do the alternate assignment, and that's all outlined in Canvas. So let's see, what else did I want to just highlight? If you have any questions about this week's assignment or anything so far, please, if you're in the Zoom meeting, there's been not very many questions, not very much conversation, which I've come to kind of, I don't know if that's because I'm not facilitating well or if you guys just don't like to chat on Zoom, but you're welcome to ask questions. I can hear you when you unmute yourself. And everyone's muted right now. Excuse me, but you can unmute yourself and ask a question anytime, and I will hear you, and I will answer your question to the best of my ability. And that is one of the most important reasons to attend a Zoom meeting live, is so that you can get your questions answered by me each week, and that's one of the reasons I'm here. So again, let's go to, I know where we need to go next. We need to go to this week's Zoom meeting class collaboration. So one of the things we did, I guess it was last semester, maybe the semester before, is students weren't watching the Zoom meetings. They were saying, hey, this is an asynchronous course. I shouldn't have to show up for the Zoom meeting, which is absolutely true. But that's very different than not actually participating in the lecture each week. You are responsible for doing that. And I appreciate all of your comments about, that it makes sense to you that even though this is an asynchronous course, you don't have to be here right now, but you recognize that it is an important part of the course, not just this one, but any asynchronous course, for you to participate in the content that's made available each week, which is in place of a lecture, which is what this is. So to make sure that everyone is watching the Zoom meeting that is being live streamed to YouTube and Facebook, to make sure that you're watching, I have this secret question. Now, every week, I usually invite students to remind me to mention this week's class collaboration, because it'll be different. It won't be in the Canvas instructions. There will be plenty of class collaboration items that you can participate in, and I appreciate that. But there will always be this one special secret that only comes at this point in the conversation, where I share what I want you guys to, this week's class collaboration, what is the focus, what is kind of the highlight for this particular week, for this particular topic, and that's what I'm going to cover now. But before I do that, I want to remind you, or maybe I haven't told you this yet, but I give extra points to students who are willing to remind me in the chat, who are here in the Zoom. You have to be in the Zoom meeting to do this, but if you will remind me, hey, don't forget to mention this week's class collaboration, because if I forget to mention it, that creates mayhem. I have to send a notification. Anyway, that's the process. So you get another extra 10 points if you're the student who is first to remind me to mention this week's class collaboration component. You'll get extra points and you'll get celebration. I have all kinds of fun, goofy things. So this week's class collaboration is something I want you to think about. I want you to think about credit and a credit score. A credit score is something that is it's designed by the credit community, the credit system. And so I want you to think about this idea. I was listening to Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is the guy who we used his curriculum for many years in this course. In fact, some of the professors in personal finance are still using Dave Ramsey's content. It's a little outdated. It got outdated, which is when COVID hit, I decided to upgrade to a more modern approach using different content from my books and my publications. But Dave Ramsey has some great ideas. One of his ideas, one of the things that he said, and this is what I want you to think about this week, and I want you to share your thoughts about one of the things that Dave Ramsey said. He said, this is an I love credit score. So what does that mean? What do you think that means? Let me get rid of my thinking man. What does that mean, I love credit score? What is he talking about? I love credit score. And here's what it is. Here's what he's saying. If you look at this whole system of your credit score, your credit report, it's designed to sell you a product. And that product, and I believe this isn't just what Dave says, not just what Dave Ramsey says, but this is something I believe, and I want to know what you believe, what you think about credit in terms of it being a product or like a right. Like so many people think they have a right to credit. That a lot of people are expecting and hoping that they don't have to pay back their student loans, and there's all this on Wall Street, all these companies that just abuse credit in so many ways, and then we taxpayers end up paying for it. But the credit bureaus, the credit system, it is all designed to sell a product which is credit. I'm talking mainly about credit cards. And if you listen to Dave Ramsey, if you know who he is, if you watch his show, listen to him on the radio, you know that Dave Ramsey is adamantly opposed to credit cards. And so that is like his number one attack, is on credit and credit cards. And it's kind of interesting. I don't agree with Dave completely on this topic. In fact, I went to one of Dave's, I went to one of his seminars or whatever. It was a big deal at Reliant Stadium. And yeah, he was taking credit cards to sell his products, which I thought was very funny. But anyway, Dave says that this is an I love credit score. And Dave basically says that you should not fall for this idea that you have to have credit. That's what I want you to think about. Is credit a product? So many ways that credit is used to get people in trouble financially. And that's what I want you to think about. I want you to, I got my thinking man, he's working overtime today. I want you to just to think about that. Like, is your credit score something that, not your credit score, but credit scores in general, is it, do you think it's right that you have all this information about you and everything you spend goes to these credit bureaus, and they get to collect all this information from you so that you can get decent credit scores, so that you can go and use credit to buy things that you may not need but that you want, so that the credit system can continue to advertise and market to you to sell you more and more and more. And don't worry if you can't afford it, because hey, there is this product that is very hot, and it's credit. And so that's what I want you to think about. I want you to get my thinking man back up again. That is this week's class collaboration. I want you to think about the idea of your credit score and how much is being invested in having you take advantage of all these things that are related to your credit score. So you see what is involved in your credit. Let me get rid of this. So you see what's involved in your FICO score, and you're going to basically be tested on this. But when you think about it like that, that you're giving, so many people spend so much time, so much effort, so much focus on improving their credit score so that they can be a better customer for the credit sellers, the people that use credit to get you in debt. Later this semester, you're going to do an assignment called the Credit Crush assignment, which is one that I think it's one of my favorite assignments, because you're going to see, you're going to understand, you're going to actually look at the cost of credit. And in that assignment, you're going to experience, hopefully, what I experienced when I was buried in debt. There was a time in my life when I was buried in debt, and my wife came to me, and she basically showed me the bills that we were paying that were credit card bills. And they weren't credit cards, they were credit accounts. Back then, when I got married back in 1982, I was making really good money as an auto mechanic, and we would go, and instead of paying cash for things like furniture, we would go to this rent to own deal where I didn't realize how ridiculous it was to rent to own. It was basically a credit account where they basically gave you the furniture, and then you had an account to pay it off, but the interest rate was pretty high and the minimum payment was pretty small, and the reality was we were paying interest fees, monthly interest and fees every month on this cheap, it was super cheap furniture, but we were, and my wife looked, and we had multiple accounts like this. And so my wife would look at those account statements, and she recognized something that I never recognized, because my wife paid the bills. I spent the money, and she paid the bills. Not a good combination. But she was paying the bills, and she's writing these checks, and she's looking to see how much she's paying in interest and how little she's paying on the payments, and what's happening to the balances. And the balances are growing, and we're making payments on all these accounts, but the balances are growing, and the minimum payment is relatively small, and we can afford it. So what do you think we do? We go out and buy more stuff. I go out and buy more stuff. Biggest fight we ever had, not maybe ever, I think it was the biggest fight we ever had. My wife decided, we both decided and agreed that we needed to put an end to this craziness of credit. We were buried in debt, and we were not going to get out of debt unless we did something radical. So we decided to do something radical, which was a spending freeze. We agreed we would not spend any more money on anything until we got these credit accounts paid off. And so that went great for a while, until I found my buddy Vinny, I call him Vinny. We were both into guns and camping and hunting and fishing, and he came across a really good deal on a .357 Magnum revolver, and I did not have a pistol at the time, and I really wanted one, and so he basically financed it for me, and it was our little secret. And one day I'm talking to Vinny about that beautiful weapon, that revolver, Smith & Wesson .357. Anyway, my wife overheard the conversation, and we were supposed to be in a spending freeze, remember, and she found out from this conversation I was having quietly on the phone. Back when we had phone cords, the cord was stretched out all across the room, and I thought I was being discreet, lying to my wife about spending money. I pretended I was, conforming to our spending freeze, but in reality I was buying this gun and paying Vance. Every time I got paid, I'd give him a little money. Anyway, she figured it out, and she had an ice cold glass of water, and she walked over and she poured it on me, and that made me very mad, and we had a big fight, and she was right and I was wrong, and that's never fun, but it's true. Anyway, that's a story about credit, my credit, and abusing credit, and what we did to fight credit. And my hope is that for those of you who maybe have only just begun experimenting with credit, that you experience the same thing I did, when the lights come on and your eyes get open and you see how credit can be used to keep you a prisoner in debt. And it's a very, very simple, easy thing to fall into. And so one of the things I want you to do this week, in addition to the credit report that you're going to get and you're going to review, in addition to that, I want you to do a creditor list. So if you don't have one now, it's going to be helpful to have this. If you don't have a list of everybody that you owe money to, if you don't know right now how many debts you have, this week, this assignment will solve that, because you're going to put together a list of everybody that you owe money to, the creditor, how much you owe, when is the payment due, how much is the payment, not just the balance, but how much will you pay, and that is the creditor list. So that's, I don't care about your credit score, you probably do. I care about you understanding how it works, and there is a quiz and money study group to make sure that you understand enough about a credit score and a credit report and the distinctions. But getting your free credit report is required in this week's assignment. The creditor list is also required in this assignment. And a capstone review involves updating your Bayrock, right, capital plan. And I want a screenshot. This is something I always have to kind of refocus you on throughout the semester, and I'll do this over and over, by the way. This is the screenshot from your Bauer Right Capital Financial Planning portal, and if you don't know where this is, you'll need to find it. It's excuse me, it's pretty easy to find. It's one of the data cards that you entered before you hit the complete button. So this is where I want you to spend a few minutes. And again, I want you to think about the expenses related to your life. So if you are not paying for internet, maybe you're not paying for insurance, maybe you're not paying rent, it doesn't matter what you're not paying for. What I want you to think about is, what are the expenses related to your life that should be a part of your expenses or your budget or your spending plan after you graduate. So what we're going to do in the next week or two, not now, it doesn't matter if you do it now, but you're going to be changing your birthday so that you're 10 years older, and we're going to make some assumptions. As we build your financial plan this semester, we're going to make some assumptions. I want to fast forward the clock for you and help you to start to think about and have the mindset that you've graduated, you have the job that you hope you have when you do graduate, and you're making the kind of money that you would expect to make if you got the job that you know, in your field, the job that you're hoping to get when you graduate. We're going to pretend that you've already graduated and you've already started making that kind of money, which means at that point, when you become an adult, a financially responsible adult, you're going to have a budget. You're going to have certain categories. That's what I want you to be thinking about, and that's what I want you to reflect here. And just do the best you can. But I'm going to be coming back to this. You're going to be graded on this. We're going to review this. It's part of your capstone assignment. It's a huge part of your capstone assignment. And remember, your capstone assignment is worth 200 points. And if you have way too few expenses in your financial plan, it's going to skew the numbers. Really, it's going to make the numbers not work. Because if you're making $100,000 at this job that you hope to have when you graduate, if you're making $100,000, but you're pretending, or you think that you're only spending $20,000 a year because that's what you're spending now, because somebody else is paying all of your expenses, because you really don't have a clue about what stuff costs for you to live, then your financial plan is going to be it's just not going to be realistic. So I'm hoping to help you create a financial plan that's based on your life 10 years from now, that's based on much more realistic assumptions than maybe you have right now. So I'll be working with you to do that, but this is where it starts, and that is part of this week's assignment. So I want to mention this too. I know I've already gotten some comments about linking accounts. Let me go see if we have any comments over here. Okay. So linking accounts in your Bauer Right Capital Financial Planning portal, it's not something you have to do. I could not care less if you do it or don't do it. But I do want you to understand something, a couple of things about linking your accounts. It's called aggregating. In the world of wealth management, it's a very important component of financial planning. If you've ever heard of or used mint.com, the way that works is you link your accounts. It's amazing what you get for free from mint.com. When I discovered mint.com 12 years ago, when I started teaching this course, I'd already been using mint.com. The reason is because mint.com allows you to take all of your accounts, checking accounts, credit card accounts, credit union accounts, investment accounts. You can have a dozen brokers like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Pershing. You can have accounts all over the world, and you can link all of those accounts so that you get the benefit of having a snapshot of your financial life. All of your debts, all of your income, every transaction, it's all there in mint.com. It's amazing that they give you that for free, but it's not really free, because when you sign up for mint.com, yes, you link your accounts and you get the benefit, but you also get a lot of advertisements and people who are soliciting you for business, because now they know everything about your financial life. It's still very secure. It's bank encryption. I mean, I think mint.com does a great job providing a really good benefit. But here's the thing. If you have access to Bayrock Right Capital, it is a premium financial planning portal. It's the same thing I use with my clients at Bayrock Financial. I make it available to you as a student in this course so that you get to create your financial plan using the same premium financial planning tool that I use with my wealth planning clients. So to get the benefit of that, it's exactly like mint.com without the ads, without somebody trying to sell you something. But to get the benefit, you have to link your accounts. If you link your accounts, like if you linked your bank account, the debit card that you use every day, if you just link that in your Bayrock portal, what's going to happen is every transaction is going to be visible in your financial plan. So then you have access to the budgeting component. Excuse me, I have all this in my head. I'm not well. I'm sick, I think. I'm not sick. I'm just all congested. So back to linking your accounts. Again, I don't care if you do it or not. I know some of you are so concerned about sharing your information, and you should be. But this is a space where I would encourage you to not be afraid to link your accounts, because we're going to delete your account after the semester. I don't get to see, like, I don't have access to your accounts, but I would have access to your transactions just like you would, because I'm the advisor at Bayrock, and so I see all of that stuff. I don't really care to look at it unless I'm working on a financial plan with you, but you might want to care to look at it. You might want to see the graph of all your spending and the charts and all of the information that automatically comes into your financial plan when you link your accounts. So I just wanted to mention that. Again, I'm not trying to sell you on linking your accounts. I couldn't care less, but it is a feature with some benefits, and I wanted you to know about it. So if you want to take advantage of using Bayrock for your spending plan instead of mint.com or instead of your bank app, or maybe in addition to those things, it is free. It's not free because I spend a lot of money on it, but it's free to you to use for the semester, and it could be very helpful. So there's that. So that's your assignment. Get your free credit report. Create a list of your creditors. Don't forget to take a look at your Right Capital. Let me see where this takes me. Boom. When I click on that, I got to fix that because a couple of you, your account in Bayrock Right Capital got deleted because my team is getting, we have this, somewhere a bot has discovered this link. So we've tried to remove this link from all public pages, but obviously it's in this page right here, so I need to go delete that because it takes you here. And if you're a bot, you can sign up and get this, you can sign up and then I have all these non-real people accounts. So we try to delete those. We keep track of those and we delete them on a regular basis. So here's the thing. If you set up your Bayrock portal and you did not change your birthday, if it says January 1, 1970, that's what we look for. That's the default. So if you set up your Bayrock account but you don't change your birthday, your account will get deleted. And that means an email, a phone, we have to work it out. We'll do that for you, but please, when you set up your Bayrock portal, make sure first thing you do is put your name, your email, and change your birthday. Anyway, that's where you'll go just to keep this. We're going to be moving into the capstone moving forward, building your financial plan is your capstone assignment. So I'm going to be teaching you week by week, element by element, data card by data card. That's what Right Capital creates your financial plan using all of these data cards. So you've already seen some of those data cards if you hit the complete button, and we'll go over that again. So this should not say Blackboard, it should say Canvas. So I'm going to have to update that too. And that's about it though. So if you have any questions, please, and there is a link to the free credit report. I think that's going to take you to, yes, you can get, these are the 3 credit bureaus that provide free annual credit reports. So you can use any one of those you want. I would encourage you to put it on your calendar and do this. You can do it 3 times a year. So for free, you can get your credit report. And I would do it every year if I were you. And I would encourage you to, start now. It's required for this week's assignment. And then again, assignment B for students with no social security number. So if you're one of those, you'll watch this video, and hopefully this YouTube video is still available. It looks like it is. So I'm gonna get rid of that. Anyway, that's what you will do if you don't have a social security number. Look at that, I changed that to Canvas, but I didn't change the other. So that's what you're going to do for this week's assignment, and I hope that makes a lot of sense. If you need some further clarification, please feel free to ask. I'm looking at the comments now, and I don't see in Zoom, I don't see any questions, so now's a great time to ask questions if you have questions. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, please leave a comment. And by the way, when it comes to class collaboration, that's really what we're looking for, is I want you to participate in the class collaboration by leaving a comment. You can do it in Money Study Group. If you don't want the whole world to know, that's where you want to do it. But if you're happy participating in collaboration on a YouTube video in the comments, that's awesome. I like YouTube, and I see those comments, and I will often jump in and reply, or just mention you in those when you leave comments in YouTube or Facebook. And same with Money Study Group. Don't leave your class collaboration comments in GroupMe. GroupMe is a special place for you. I try not to go into your GroupMe because it's a special place for you. And so if I'm needed in GroupMe, again, GroupMe is a resource for you to collaborate with one another, ask questions, answer questions. And so I set that up every semester. You have your own GroupMe group. It's been the #1 choice so far. If you have another choice, let me know. But anyway, that's for you. I don't go into your GroupMe unless I really need to. If there's a question that's not being answered in GroupMe, generally a student will reach out to me and let me know by text message. That's the best way to reach me, or email. That's the second best way to reach me. And when I see a text message from one of my students, I get on it, especially if it's a question that is not able to be answered in GroupMe. Then I will provide a tutorial or an announcement or some way to make sure that you get the information. And typically the student who reaches out to me volunteers to take my answer, post it in GroupMe so that everybody knows. So far that's worked pretty well. I hope you agree that's working pretty well. But that's kind of what we've got. So I think that's it for now. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds to, I've got some new messages. Let me check those. I use so Jeanette says, I use Bank of America Credit, and they have a payment due date plus next closing date within a few days apart from my app. If I pay in full by the payment due date and purchase items before the next closing date, does not immediately paying it off affect my credit score in any way? That is a really good question, Jeanette. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to admit to something. credit scores and how they, how they calculate it, it's not an area that I'm an expert, nor do I want to be. I don't really know. That's a good question, but it's kind of, it's probably a question you should ask one of the reps at the bank, because I don't know the answer to that question. I probably should, but I don't. What's the best time to fully pay off my card to gain the most credit? The most credit, I'm assuming you mean the most benefit from your credit score. When is the best time to fully pay off my card to gain the most credit? I'm assuming you mean benefit to your credit score. And so here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to use that question, Jeanette, to say, isn't that interesting? Remember what we're going to be thinking about for this semester. For this class collaboration assignment. That question and that way of thinking, what's the best time to pay off my credit card to get the best benefit from my credit score? When the question you should be asking is, when's the best time to pay off my credit card that makes sense for me financially? And that's going to be as soon as possible, especially if you're paying interest, if you have. Now, if you pay it off every month, which is what I try to do, sometimes things happen, but I always want to pay my credit card off completely every month, because otherwise I'm paying interest and often I'm paying fees. So that's the question I want you to ask. And I want to use this week's class collaboration for you to think about how important it is for you to not fall into the trap that Dave Ramsey was talking about, where the I love credit score trumps actual good financial behavior. It's a great question. I don't know the answer. You'll probably be able to figure that out when you do your homework this week. And feel free to leave a comment in your article. I'll look forward to reading it, Jeanette. I don't really know the answer to the question, but again, in my opinion, what I want to encourage you to think about is not how can I make a decision in managing my credit so that I get a better credit score, but I want you to have a better net worth. I want you to build wealth. I want you to have success financially. And to do that, I agree with Dave Ramsey for the most part that you don't want to have debt just hanging around. Now, I love credit cards. I don't love credit cards. I don't have a debit card. I have credit cards because I like the rewards. And I pay them off every month. And I like the idea, I really like the idea of having a record of everything I spend. I have a business card and a personal card. And so I am totally for credit cards, unlike Dave Ramsey, who says you should cut up your credit cards. I think that's a goofy idea, honestly. So anyway, that's my answer, though. I think Dave has a really good point. The I love credit score means you make all of your decisions to try to improve your credit score, when in reality, you have some other questions you should be asking. So great question. I don't mean to pound on that. I just wanted to kind of highlight this week's class collaboration is to think about that whole idea that Dave Ramsey mentioned about I love credit scores. So that's it. I don't see any other questions, and I hope you guys have a great week. It's been a lot of fun reading your stories, and I appreciate that, and I hope you'll keep putting your stories into your assignments. This week's assignment, your credit report, your credit list, and updating your Bayrock portal, and don't forget the class collaboration. So that's going to do it. I'm going to end the meeting. Actually, first, I'm going to end the live stream. So I am going to see if I can hit the countdown. It's not working. Okay, so let me get rid of that. There we go. I'm going to do that again. 10, 9, here we go. I'm going to finish now. You You guys, will see you next time. I will join you in the